The third season of One Punch Man is finally here. After wiping out that giant centipede, a brand new threat has appeared. But that's not a problem, because everyone keeps saying he solos Goku anyway. The episode starts with the Hero Association having a little meeting about that massive attack that blew up the giant creature before it could wreck the city. They're out here thanking God that Saitama managed to stop that massive lobster-looking thing in the craziest way possible. And honestly, it's hard to believe since that's the kind of feat only King could pull off. While they're all feeling lucky to have him as an ally, the old dude reports they failed to capture Silverfang. Then the meatball nose guy says Garou isn't even human anymore. He's a full-on monster now. In fact, next time they see him, he should be classified as a dragon-level threat. The big guy asks if it's normal for a human to fight Class S heroes barehanded. And the nose dude admits he's surprised Silverfang didn't win, but at least Garou got left in critical condition. So maybe he won't end up joining the Monster Association after all, which is a win for them, right? While one guy's yelling to call Blast, another one says it's pointless since that guy doesn't take orders from anyone. But if humanity's really in danger, it's guaranteed he'll show up. Out of nowhere, this dude with sausage lips shows up saying his son got kidnapped by a monster. Since it's already been 24 hours, one guy tells him to calm down because he'll be leading the mission himself. And this dude is Second Gal, walking around with his ego at max level. Then the queen herself, Tatsumaki, shows up and says there's no need to waste time. Just go in and end it. The big kid with the lollipop says he's got multiple underground robots investigating, and poor guy's gotta work 2 straight days with no rest. Tatsumaki, in all her brilliance, suggests blowing up City Z to find the hideout. But the guy reminds her they still got a hostage. She just shrugs and says no one would stand a chance against her anyway. Even though the dude keeps warning her how tough the enemies are, she asks if he invited her just to hear him talk. Then, suddenly, a hologram pops up from his eye, explaining that the masked dude ignored all warnings and went on the mission alone. Ronnie Coleman from Shopee looks shocked, but since that guy's never lost a battle, it kinda makes sense. Still, the fact that there's been no word from him since yesterday, maybe his first defeat has arrived. Tatsumaki doesn't care at all and asks who's even left from this trash squad. Second Gal says since the deadline's 3 days, they'll act as soon as any hero's ready. Time passes, and Atomic Samurai starts wondering why it's taking so long. The tall dude asks why there's a smell of blood coming from him. The samurai says he's been slicing up monsters since yesterday, but still hasn't found the Monster Association hideout. Then they find out the place is in the Ghost City, and that one lady who might not actually be a lady was about to take a bath. Suddenly, this blue-haired, flashy dude appears saying he thought this was supposed to be an elite gathering, not some picnic with the samurai's buddies. He couldn't care less about anyone there. His plan is to use the weak ones as bait. But Atomic Samurai says his disciples are strong and that their job is just to protect the handsome hero. Then the sweet mask guy says he's only Class C because it's easier, and if he wanted to, he could move up to S anytime. Now, everyone's arguing over who's actually the strongest. Meanwhile, in prison, Puri Prisoner asks if he can just walk out through the front door. The warden says he could, but reminds him that every time he escapes for a mission, it's technically illegal. The police don't like how well the association treats a prisoner, but this time it's important, because some cat-faced dude has been turning inmates into monsters and taking them away. So if this big guy really is a hero on the outside, the warden wants to see him avenge the prisoners. Before he leaves, another one of his crushes shows up handing him a heart-shaped outfit, and honestly, who even knows what these guys are into anymore? Back to the little boss kid. He kicks everyone out of the room and tells Metal Knight to stop pretending he's not there. And as it turns out, the guy probably already found the hideout, but as always, wants to do things his own way. That's because if he talks, everyone could die, not just the hostage. The short boss says it'd be smarter if he joined the team. Now we learn that the monster Orochi took just one single blow to destroy most of Metal Knight's armor. So it's not really the Monster Association he's scared of, it's just the realization that the world could end and nobody can be trusted. As hours go by, the sausage lip old man starts cursing the association, calling them useless. He even prepared special combat suits for the whole squad, saying if they save his son, they'll all live in luxury for generations. Then Zombie Man appears, saying he's almost sure the hideout's in that small building over there. Cut to Saitama's house. A real woman of culture shows up, saying it's her sister's fault the Blizzard group got wiped out. So when she calls out for Saitama, the bald old man himself answers the door, because of course he's busy gaming as always. Genos asks what she wants, and Silverfang completely ignores her, asking for some ointment instead. While everyone keeps talking about games, Blizzard just stands there speechless. When Saitama asked why she was here, she said it was an emergency. Her entire squad had been wiped out, and she wasn't in the mood for games while a dangerous monster association was out there causing chaos. Then the bald dude calmly said he'd just gotten home to rest, so she could tone it down a bit. Genos added that it wasn't just her who faced tough enemies. They had just come back from a serious fight too. And the respectful lady could understand King being here, but Silverfang too? That was overkill. The old man explained that he could barely move because of his back, and the old bald guy's knees were already done for. On one hand, Nevasca could understand everyone being exhausted, but she couldn't figure out why Saitama looked concerned but didn't seem to care. He just said everything was fine, so he was chillin'. That's when she snapped, yelling that only a crazy person would say everything's fine right now. The bald guy wanted to know why she was so worked up. Even King had to admit she had a point this time. When the respectful lady sat down to start a meeting, she asked if the association hadn't sent any messages to the S-Class heroes. But since Genos was busy throwing punches, his transmitter melted, so no messages for him. And the ones from the old men and King broke from the shockwaves of Saitama's punch, obviously. Nevasca said they needed to take the next step soon. But first, the cyborg needed repairs. The old guys needed rest. King had stuff to deal with, and she said it'd just be her and Saitama then. While she was giving a long speech, the bald man wasn't even listening. She went on about how monsters forming an alliance wasn't normal and was definitely a big problem. Silverfang said that if Garou joined them, then they'd all be in serious trouble. And the old bald man said that if more giant monsters like that centipede showed up, things would get really bad. Saitama told King that the hero hunter he'd been looking for had hunted down a few more heroes recently. But since Garou never came after him, it must have been prejudice, just because he's bald. Now the bald guy was fired up again, putting on his outfit and saying he was going for a walk. Genos asked if he even knew where Garou was, and Saitama said he'd just look around and punch him when he found him. And most importantly, he had to buy some cabbage at the market. Poor Nevasca realized it was impossible to convince Saitama and his crew to join her. Somewhere out there, Garou woke up, confused and wondering where he was. But then he found a note saying, "Welcome to the Monster Association," and telling him to stay in his room and not cause trouble. The dude crumpled the paper, complaining about his skin color. And man, that prison looked comfy. They even had clothes for him. But being stubborn as always, the first thing he did was leave the cell, wondering how that old geezer was doing now. That group who'd been hired was begging the monster for mercy, but he said no one was getting out alive. Since their boss had given them special suits, they might as well fight to the death. And that was all thanks to the giant mech samurai who had found them. His name was Divine Machine G5. Garou received a telepathic message telling him to stay put and wait. Meanwhile, the mecha dude said those suits were insanely valuable. But since only their users could wear them, the best option was to keep them alive as pawns. And if you were wondering where all the animation budget went this episode, now you know. Gasoza said she'd train them properly to make them useful somehow. One whip was all it took for everyone to start transforming, and she said these newbies had some real potential. That's when Garou walked in, all confident and serious, and the monster said he was up early. The creatures were screaming, asking if he was human or monster, and Garou just stared, wondering what kind of weird thing was standing behind that creature. They had brought Garou here because even though their demonic strength was huge, they lacked leadership, so they wanted him to take charge. Black Sperm said it was a good idea, especially with Garou's lone wolf, anti-hero style. But since things were serious here, Lord Orochi had one condition. He had to prove he was a monster by bringing back the head of any hero by tomorrow. When Garou heard that Silverfang and the others were still alive, he couldn't believe it. Then a bug god and a ripper demon appeared, both dragon class, and their mission was to follow Garou everywhere he went. Meanwhile, two lowlifes were walking around, wondering where Sonic was. And right on cue, the guy came out of the bathroom saying he hated this place. Even Even though he never wanted to join the monsters, the only thing that mattered now was his new power, so he could finally end Saitama once and for all.